In October of 1964, Nikita Khrushchev, one of the most powerful men in the world at the time and the leader of the Soviet Union, was called back to Moscow while he was vacationing in Georgia. He gets off the plane, he walks into the terminal at the airport, and he expected to see his normal entourage, which would have been a driver, a couple of bodyguards, maybe a couple of allies and friends in government. Instead, he walked into an almost empty airport. Confused, he walked up to a desk and asked for a phone. Back in those days, people actually had phone numbers memorized or carried something with them so they could call people. And he punched in the number to his office. The phone just rings and rings. Nobody picks up. So he calls his undersecretary, and the phone number's disconnected. So he proceeds to go down the list of all of his allies in government, everybody who should be picking up the phone, and realizes that every phone number has been disconnected or changed. The Presidium, which was the managing body of the Soviet Union at the time, had figured out how to remove Khrushchev from power by making just one little tweak in technology while he was out on vacation. A career in politics, all the leverage that he had, all the hands that he had shaken, all the babies he kissed, gone with just one little change. All they did was just change all the phone numbers in the government while he was on vacation. It's a great Cold War story and a great story about technology because it reminds us of a critical truth. Technology is a powerful tool, but it's only as strong as the networks, the communities, and the systems behind it. In the world of RWAs, real-world assets, tokenization is an incredible tool, one that's transforming how we interact with assets like debt, real estate, and more. But it's the communities, the builders, founders, visionaries, all of you, that make this technology meaningful and the values that you bring with it. Tokenization is just code. It's a movement driven by people who believe in a more transparent, accessible, and equitable financial future. Technology can amplify power, yes. It can solve problems, yes. But the source of power is always in the people who wield it and the values that they bring with them. There's a conflict in the crypto space right now around these values. And I want to take a second to draw your attention to one particular case out of the Southern District of New York that RH brought up earlier today. Tornado Cash is an open source protocol that was published by a developer named Roman Storm, and he's currently being prosecuted for publishing this software. The case has huge implications for free speech. If found liable as a money transmitter, which he is not, because he never held custody of anyone's money, it would suggest that anyone publishing anything on the internet could be held liable for how their users use it. It would be like me reading an article online in the New York Times about something, choosing to commit a crime related to that educational content or opinion, and then the paper getting sued for it. This is a disaster for First Amendment rights. There is an incursion into crypto, not only of government overreach, but the TradFi infidels are coming as well. We are under attack. The hot wars of the last century have first mostly gone cold and are now shifting to the digital and legal frontiers. We invite you to that frontier with us. I'm Ben Gotchberg. I go by Midas on X, and I'm the founder of CVRE. After a 10-year banking career, I became a contractor and then a real estate developer. I drive a 10-year-old truck with a seat full of tools. I own 2 chickens. I've been hit in a crosswalk twice because I believe in attorneys and the strength of the United States justice system, and I'm absolutely obsessed with the real-world applications possible between real estate and crypto, and I've spent the last 10 years dreaming about it. So, what are RWAs and why did they matter? For those new to the space, simply real-world assets are tangible or financial assets that have been tokenized. We break them down into tokens, and people buy them. But if you're a crypto native, you know that it's more than that. We're talking about liquidity, we're talking about ability to transfer, and more than that, we're talking about the way it flows across jurisdictions, time zones, economies, and currencies. It's a big deal. Let's look at where we are today. According to recent data, the tokenized RWA market is growing rapidly. Of the 5 largest types of RWAs on blockchains, corporate and private company debt leads the charge. I think the market cap right now is like somewhere between $50 and $60 billion, depending on the time of day. Real estate has had about $5.4 billion of real estate tokenized. But interestingly, we've had over $1 billion of failed real estate projects so far. This tells us 2 things. First of all, the potential is massive, but the road is going to be a little bit rough. Tokenizing real estate is complex. The thing's illiquid. It requires trust, not just in the asset class itself, but in the people involved. And yet, these challenges are exactly why we're here. We want to push the boundaries of what's possible. Now, let's talk about the winds of change and what's happening and why a lot of us are putting our foot on the pedal. Paul Atkins came out on national news media, CNBC, just a couple of weeks ago, and said, the SEC has been standing athwart, it's a $5 word, athwart, against innovation, and he believes that the United States should be putting their foot on the gas pedal with crypto entrepreneurs, especially in regard to tokenization. This is a signal from the federal government that we should be all gas, no brakes, and we expect new rules as soon as September on the subject. I am surprised that more entrepreneurs and builders don't see this as a clear signal. Obviously, there have been very clear chilling effects over the last several administrations from the SEC, but I believe it's go time. I'm going. You should go too. And it's not just regulators that are taking notice. Traditional finance is charging into tokenization as well. Vlad Tenev from Robinhood is making moves. Many of you saw that he tokenized securities in Europe just over the last couple of weeks. I personally am not a huge Robinhood fan. I was in the GameStop trade, as many of you were. I don't personally trust what they're doing. I know they just want my fees, but look, they're going to onboard a lot of people into crypto. They're going to bring a lot of capital in our direction. And even though the TradFi infidels are going to take some fee money out of the space, they're going to bring a lot of dollars in as well. And then once people get here, we can yell and scream about the traditional values of crypto and about self-custody. Mainstream finance is waking up to the power of tokenization, and that's mostly a positive thing. So, why does this all matter? Tokenization democratizes access. Right now, the average player would never be in the room for an OpenAI IPO or a SpaceX IPO. You need to be a wealthy insider to get a piece of that action. Guys like Larry Fink and Vlad Tenev, they're talking like they're going to narrow the gap between the super wealthy access and the middle class access in some of these rooms. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if they try, that would be a positive thing. And if there is an opportunity for us to narrow that gap here on the frontier, on Pulse Chain, if we can take some of that software and bring it out here and white label that stuff to give the average Joe the opportunity to get a piece of that action, I'm down to clown, and I think we should give it a shot. But let's be clear, the road ahead is not without challenges. Tokenization's promise, faster settlements, lower costs, broader access, these all come with risks. As we saw with real estate, failed projects show that not every tokenized asset is a winner. Some failures come because of poor execution. You've got all this third-party risk in it. You got scams, you've got lack of transparency, and even the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce reminds us that tokenized securities are still securities. So we need to build with compliance in mind. We don't know what that means yet completely, but I'm watching for it, and I'll be paying attention to what the government's going to say. This brings me back to the Khrushchev story. Technology, like tokenization, is a tool, not a magic wand. It can unlock incredible opportunities, but it can also create vulnerabilities if we're not careful. Over-reliance on tech without strong community and clear rules can lead to isolation, like a bumbling Khrushchev in an empty airport. That's why platforms like PulseChain are so vital. Here, we're not just coding smart contracts or minting tokens, we're building trust, collaboration, and shared purpose. PulseChain's community, fast-moving, innovative, a little wild, a little vulgar, is the perfect place to tackle these challenges and turn RWAs into a cornerstone of the future I wouldn't be building anywhere else. So, what does the future look like? First, it's about scale. Bitwise's Matt Hogan, he's talking about the stock and bond markets like he's going to get all of it. It's like $257 trillion. If you get just 1 to 5% penetration, you're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry overnight for the bankers. I don't really think that money's really going to come to us, but the bankers are excited. So maybe you get some trickle-over effects. I think we're mostly going to get software out of that deal, and that's positive for a lot of reasons. Second, I think it's about collaboration. Traditional finance is coming. The infidels are coming, but crypto natives will always push out the frontier further and further. PulseChain, with speed, with community-driven ethos, the Wild West of the crypto world, a place where 1 year feels like a lifetime of innovation. If you're here with your first $100 in crypto, trying your luck on a meme coin, or if you're here like me, trying to build an RWA project, you are part of this frontier. We're not just tokenizing assets here. We're building a city, ecosystems where anyone can participate, create, thrive. As a founder on PulseChain, I've seen firsthand how this community embraces bold ideas. I've spent years in the trenches, navigating highs, feeling pretty low in some of these bear markets, from the euphoria to seeing a lot of projects fail. And my work has taught me that trust is actually the currency of the future, not just in code, but in people. And that's why I'm here. Not to sell you on a token, but to invite you to a grand experiment on PulseChain. And I'm talking to you, the sidelines, the people who don't have any money here yet, the entrepreneurs who have built a business somewhere else and are ready to come out to play. Let's build a city together. Whether you're a crypto native or just stepping into this world, pack up some liquidity, hop on a horse, ride over the bridge, and come west. I'll bump out to you here on the trail somewhere. The future of RWAs is bright, and it's ours to create. This is Midas from CVRE, and I'm signing out.